Very good. All right, well, first of all, welcome everybody. Welcome to our first seminar for 2021 and probably the first one in about 12 months actually. So tonight we're going to be talking about how you could build a property portfolio by rentvesting. So Chris, CEO of Rentvesting, is going to join me in a minute. But before we do that, just want to get a bit of a temperature check for the room. How many here are homeowners? Got a few. How many are currently renting? Got a few. And how many are already a rentvester? Oh, there's a couple. Okay. Interestingly enough, I've got to thank Blue Earth for hosting us here tonight, and we've got one of our own clients, Matty Panaki, who's actually one of the sales directors here at Blue Earth. He's actually a client of ours and a rentvester, so he's had a couple of properties, so he's been through the experience with us. So now that we should have most of our people that are joining us from home, welcome to everybody at home. Obviously you couldn't be here tonight, but feel free to ask any questions as we go through. We'll be monitoring both LinkedIn and Facebook. All right, now the other question I was going to ask you as far as raising your hand is who wants the borders to open so you can start to do some travel again? Well, the lucky people that have turned up here tonight, we've got a couple of great holiday vouchers, so stick around to the end, we'll be drawing a raffle. We've got 2 amazing holiday vouchers which we're going to give away. You can use it any time in the 18 months, both domestic and international if they do open the borders. You can choose 7 nights in Bali, Phuket, Fiji, Sydney, Gold Coast, Koh Samui or Brisbane. So stick around for that, will be really good. All right, so if we look back at 2020, obviously 2020 was a year of change. I think everybody would agree with that. We've been addicted to convenience after getting sat at home. We've got Uber Eats getting delivered to us. But what it's done, it's actually changed the property market and changed the way we live as well. So people are choosing to live closer to amenity, okay? And this is where rentvesting really takes off. I myself, I don't own my own home. I like to rentvest because I can be 5 minutes away from work. I've got all the convenience of things like a gym, being able to walk 2 minutes to work is great, but also losing costs associated with having to travel to work every day. In the last 5 years, 110,000 new cars hit the road in Melbourne. So people are spending 3 hours in the car if they're commuting from the outskirts. So rentvesting has become a really popular tradition now. And Chris Christofi, who's going to join me on stage here in a minute, is the epitome of that. He's been rentvesting for 20 years. So before we do bring Chris on, I want to talk a little bit about Rentvesting. So Chris actually founded Rentvesting on the 21st of March 2005. So we're just coming up to celebrating our 16-year anniversary. In that time, we've helped over 3,000 Australians build their wealth through property. We've done over $1 billion worth of real estate sales. We have currently $700 million under management through our asset finance and property management and our mortgage broking business. We've got a team of about 63, and even through COVID, that was growing. So we've, I think we did have to send some people home to work. I don't know if they're all going to make it back because we don't have enough room for them. All services under one roof. So we do everything from property investment advice, mortgage broking, property management, accounting and financial planning, all under the one roof. One thing that Chris is very proud of as well, we donate $500 from every property sale that we do to his charity Brick by Brick. Brick by Brick, Chris will talk about a bit, but he's been a really big advocate for fighting homeless in Australia for some time. So he started a charity last year called the Brick by Brick charity, where we've bought a block of land. We'll be building a house on that block of land down in Mount Dunedin, Geelong. We're going to auction that off, and then whatever proceeds come from that will be going directly to the charity. So it's something he's very proud of. In addition to owning Rentvesting, Chris also runs another 11 companies as well. So there's 11 companies under the different brands. He's also been able to amass a considerable property portfolio with over $500,000 worth of income that comes through that per annum. Author of a bestseller, Your Path to Wealth, Brick by Brick. Everybody who's turned up tonight as well will get a free copy of that, which Chris is going to sign. So we'll give you a copy of that before you leave. He's also the brand ambassador for Vinny's CEO Sleep Out, and since 2019 has raised over 180,000. It's in the top 0.5 percentile of fundraisers nationwide. And he's a lifelong rentvester. So without further ado, please put your hands together for Chris Christofi. He can talk to you a bit about that.
Firstly, thanks for that. Thanks everyone for coming. So rentvesting, it's a very popular topic, something I've been speaking about and passionate about. I've been a rentvestor now for 22 years before the term actually was a term. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why I became a rentvestor, the benefits to become a rentvestor, and why it's becoming such a prevalent option for investors to become rentvesters and why it's smart money to invest. And then we're going to talk a little bit about this project here. Doug's going to talk about Blue Earth. We've got some amazing incentives for people tonight. And at the end of it, we're going to answer all the questions. Please stay back, and as Tim mentioned, everyone get a copy of my book, which is an Amazon bestseller, Your Path to Wealth Brick by Brick. This talks exactly about the Reventon formula, how we've helped over 3,000 Australians, and it's got some great tools that you can use in your arsenal while you're buying property, okay? So please stick around for that. If you've got any questions while I'm talking, just raise your hand and I'll get to them and I'll answer them as we're going along. If you don't want to ask them in this forum when we finish, we'll talk about them all at the end of it, okay? Now, let me get a show of hands. Who's heard the term rent money is dead money? Everyone? I've heard it so often. Now, I totally disagree with that. I've coined the phrase saying rent money is extremely smart money if you invest. Now, what I'm going to talk to you about today is why is it smart money, why is it becoming such a popular option, and why I was doing this over 22 years ago before it was even a term, okay? And why it's something you should seriously consider, especially as, you know, investors getting into the market. Whether you have one property, it's your first property, I own over 20 properties. I raised my hand before and I said I'm a rentvestor. I'm still reinvesting myself. So I live 1 block away from the office. It's a 3-minute walk. Do I drive to the office? I get asked all the time. Yes, I still drive to the office. I got asked that before. Why? I'm lazy. And if I want to go somewhere, hence why I've got a bit of a pot now, I don't like walking much. But it's a lot more effective. Now, if you're investing, I do drive, yeah. Very, very quick story, very, very quick. It takes me 7 minutes to drive to work to go from one point to the other. Now my wife goes to me, get rid of your car spot, Chris. And I said to her, no. Now I can't argue with logic. She goes, if you can walk home faster, get rid of it because it costed $600 a month. I said, okay, I can't argue with that. I drove to the office, took me 7 minutes from point to point. I walked home one day, it took me 4 minutes. I caught a red light on the way home because I crossed the road. She goes, hey hun, how are you? I go, good. How long did your walk take? I said, 10 minutes. She goes, no it didn't. I said, you timed me, didn't you? She did. I cancelled my spot, but I recently got another one. To save a bit of time. Now, my first property, when I got into the property market, I was faced with a decision. My father gave me $30,000 as an advance wedding present. Why say in advance? I'm the youngest of 4 siblings. I was 19 at the time, looking like never getting married. I got married at 31, so it was a good decision. I said, Dad, I want my money early. I said, why do you want your money, Chris? I said, I want to buy a car. He said, no. Find an investment property and I'll give you your money. I said, okay. That's when I started researching real estate. That's when I worked in real estate. I fell in love with the process and I bought my first piece of real estate. I'm going to actually show you the numbers on why I bought my first property and why it made sense, okay? Now, my first property, I rented a property in Taylors Lakes. I'm from the western suburbs. That's where I was living at the time, in 4 Pier Court. I did research and I bought a property in Falcon Way, South Tweed. Rental property was the 4 Pier Court where I was living. Investment property was in Tweed. I want to do the numbers side by side to understand why I made this decision. The property at 4 Pier Court was worth approximately $260,000. Sorry, am I in front of everyone? Yep. 260. The property I bought in Tweed was $183,900. Okay, 30,000 was all I had for a deposit. I was paying $190 a week to rent the property in Taylors Lakes, which is where I wanted to live. The property that I bought as an investment was receiving $220, much higher yield. Now you remember we said rent money is dead money? Not necessarily, because I could use the $220 that I was receiving and I could pay that rent, couldn't I? And not only can I do that, I'm $30 a week better off. But let me also tell you why it's so much better in so many areas. I have no tax benefits when I'm buying my own home. So when you own your primary place of residence, there's 0 tax deductions. When you have an investment property, you have maximum tax deductions if it's a new build. You get full depreciation on the fixing and fitting for 7 years, and the building get 2.5% over 40 years. You want to buy a property when it's new because that's when you get most of your on-paper deductions, which is where you save a lot of tax. The value of the property after 6 years when I sold my Tweed heads, I sold it for $328,000. I actually researched and I wanted to know how much was that house in Taylor's Lakes 6 years later. It actually was worth $340,000. So the property that I bought for $183,000 outgrew that substantially. So I would have made an $80,000 profit if I bought the one in Fort Pierre Court. I made $170,000 profit because I bought the one in New South Wales Tweed. A couple of things to note here. I had maximum tax deductions, no tax deductions, much higher rental yield, average rental yield. The first property is always the most important investment property you're going to buy. And I've said this and I illustrate that in my book as well, because it's the stepping stone to buy your second, third, fourth and fifth. If you don't over leverage and you don't borrow too much money, it makes it so much easier to duplicate that successful process. And by doing this and buying my first, I was 19. By the age of 24, I bought 8 properties through using this exact formula. As my property grew, I made sure that I had good cash flow. I'd buy again, buy again, buy again. Does this all make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, why rentvest? Let's look at a few things we discussed. Tax benefits is big. Can I get a show of hands who pays full tax? Here's an easy one. Can I get a show of hands who doesn't like paying full tax? Everyone? I'm Greek. I don't like paying full tax. Right? We don't like paying much tax. But I want to minimize it as best as I possibly can. Buying investment properties is the best way to mitigate your tax legally and also to compound your taxable income. Lower debt in most cases. Let's use the last example. $30,000 I used as a deposit. My loan was $170,000 because I had to pay stamp duties and things like that. If I bought the $260,000 property, by the time I paid stamp duties and LMI, my loan would have been about $260,000 because I had to pay lender's mortgage insurance. So my loan would have been much higher. So by buying an investment property, it's not as emotional as buying your own home. When you buy your own home, you tend to spend more money. Hey, I want that extra bathroom. I want it to look a little bit nicer. And there's an element of certain things you want. When you're investing, there's one thing that's important, which is
Money.
to make money. That's the one key reason you invest, is it not? When you're buying your own home, there's so many other elements. And I say to people, not everything's about making money. But when it comes to investing, it's 100% about making money. Buy in high growth capital areas. $183,000. I didn't have much I could play with back then. New South Wales Tweed, 3-bedroom, double-story townhouse. That's pretty much what I could afford at that stage. And it was the right property for me to buy because I wasn't over leveraging. And back then, it was a lot easier to borrow money as it is now. So it was a lot easier for me to leverage a lot more. One of the most popular reasons why people rentvest, one of the main reasons that I rentvest now is because I live right near my work. I live close to amenity. It's a lifestyle choice. And also too, my income is 100% tax efficient, okay? But we've already covered that one. Live where you want, invest where you should, okay? Now, it's a lot easier to be a lot more agile when you're investing. You don't have to buy a house, pay stamp duty. Well, furniture depends if you get furnished or not, but it's a lot easier to just move a rental properties into, say, your primary place of residence. So that was one of the key reasons what motivated me to get into the market. And as I said, for 22 years, I'm still investing to today. And why a lot of people are doing that now is because they want to live in certain areas. Now, COVID's changed the dynamic of where we invest, and Tim mentioned that as well. They want to live near the city, near their work, near amenity, near lifestyle. But in most cases, the purchase prices are so much more expensive. And as I mentioned in my book too, the more expensive the real estate is, in almost every case, the lower the rental yields will be. So when we specialize in real estate from 400 to 700,000, the reason we do that is it's affordable, it's got very high rental yields, and you can leverage a lot easier because it's more affordable and you can pay off your debts. Does that all make sense? Now, who pays off your own property? So when you own your primary place of residence, who's paying that off? You? 100%. The answer is, you paid off 100%. Not that appealing, not that best. When you buy an investment property, who pays that off? Taxman? Who else? Rental income? And a small portion you. Now at the end of this presentation, Tim's going to show you some figures on what rentvesting would look like in a beautiful apartment complex like this, just so you can get your head around some of the numbers. I just want you to go over the concepts and how it looks, okay? So if you buy an investment property, you've got three people that are paying it off. You, the tenant, and the taxman. Now, 20% will be you. 20% as opposed to 100%. 60% will be the tenant. You buy $500,000 property, it rents for $500,000. Now, by the way, lending now is at 0.01%. It's the lowest it's ever been. Great time to have your money work for you. And rents are very good as well. You've got both those things working for you. So 20% will be the taxman. In most cases, a lot of these properties, and Tim's going to show you, they're coming in close to nothing per week. Why? Consider the lending landscape and consider the rental yields you're getting. Now the beauty of getting into a property that doesn't cost you much money, if you can afford $300 a week and it only costs you $50, I advise people to still put $300 in. Because while the property is growing and you're also building equity, it's happening twice as fast. So do you know what that means? More money, what else?
Get the next one.
Get the next one quicker. And the bigger this is, the better your LVO is, the safer it is. The more affordable to buy your second, third, fourth and fifth. And duplicating a successful property, a successful process. One property is not going to allow you to retire. Neither is two, neither is three. 4 or 5 is going to get you closer. The average lifestyle in retirement is 1.2 million per person, a couple 2.4. If you're from overseas or you live a better lifestyle, you might need more money. It all depends. Now, the choices you make today will affect your future. At the end of our presentation, for a few people, we've offered some great incentives to have a chat with us, to put an expression of interest on a couple of the places that we have hand-selected for you. Okay? Obviously, we'll have to do the numbers to make sure that they all make sense and you're in a position to be able to do it. But for those of you that want to act, we're going to do something very special. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Doug now from Blue Earth, who's going to talk to us a bit about Blue Earth. We're sitting in their lovely display in Essendon, and also a bit about this project. Okay, and for all of you, I'm going to come back at the end to add those incentives, what they may be, and I'll be here at the end of it as well to answer any questions you may have. Before I do, is there anything quickly that anyone would like me to answer? No? All good? Mr. Doug?
Thank you, mate. So welcome everyone. My colleague Matt is at the back that you've already met. So we work for Blue Earth, and Blue Earth is the developer that is building this building on this site. Just to give you a little bit of background how this works, Chris and his team have the opportunity to basically sell any development in Australia. And so what he and his team do will look at various developments all over the country for all the reasons Chris has already touched on now. And if he comes up with a good one, then he may offer that to you. So I tell you that because obviously from Matt's and my point of view, our responsibility is to sell this development. So we'll invite Chris and his team out, and hopefully it'll have enough positive attributes for Chris and his team to be able to offer it to you. So we work for the developer. The developer is Blue Earth. Blue Earth's been in Melbourne, two partners, both accountants, very, very financially savvy. You've known the Dib brothers for how many years?
I think it's close to 15.
Yeah, so 15 years. They've been developing in Melbourne specifically for 22 years. And they've done 60 buildings in 22 years. Why this is important is obviously the experience factor. Chris is never going to put you into a building where it's the first time developer who's using a first time builder. It's never going to happen because Chris wouldn't do that. So we use exclusively one builder. Hamilton Marino. So people ask us all the time, well, why don't you go out to tender, get lower prices and that sort of stuff? And the answer is if we do that, we can't guarantee the quality control. We've done 27, nearly 30 buildings now with Hamilton Marino. We know exactly what they do for us in terms of quality control. So when we promise you something that is going to be built in 2 years' time like this development, it'll be exactly how we present it tonight. So just to give you a bit of an overview of some of those buildings that we've done over those 22 years, this is a development in Footscray that we did 3 years ago. Very fortunate to have that. Lots of development in Footscray, and the fortunate thing was we were doing 4 buildings along the river. So we did have the best location. We sold that project out 3 years ago. It was a record in Australia at the time. We sold 740 apartments, 4 buildings, in 10.5 months. So to give you a bit of an insight, we had no idea there was a lot of competition in Footscray. And we started the first building without a beautiful display like this. And we launched it in 8 days. 190 apartments were sold. So we were very excited at that stage. We rushed to get the second building up and running to sell, and that one sold out in 6 weeks. So we finally, after selling 2.5 buildings, we had finished the display, and were able to sell 1.5 buildings through the display. But the fastest selling development in Australia at the time. So people ask me, well, hang on, if there was a lot of competition in Footscray, why did this one sell so fast? There were other buildings in Footscray that had been selling for 3 years prior to us starting. So there were 3 main reasons, and this is really insightful into the Blue Earth story. One is we were 10% less expensive than the competition in the area. So everyone understands that's a big tick. The second one was location. We were the development on the water. Everyone else was behind us. They were looking in the back of us. We had gorgeous views into the city. Now the third, the most important, and this blew us away, was the amenities. Chris touched on it before, lifestyle amenities that we were offering in our building. What did that mean? Really before that, no one had really offered lifestyle amenities in apartment buildings. They had a little gym with a couple of machines in it and that type of thing, but nothing really legitimate lifestyle development. So this is what we did in this building. We had a full spa, we had a gym, we had a pool, we had a business centre, we had a residence dining room, we had a cinema, and people came from all over Melbourne and bought in this development. It's the most amazing, amazing development. So all we did, we learned from that and said, okay, people are not actually looking to buy and rent in little boxes anymore, little apartments. They want lifestyle with their apartments. And so that's all we did. So we moved out to Ivanhoe Gardens, and there was 230 apartments out in Ivanhoe Gardens, and that was around an employment hub around medical. You probably know Ivanhoe, there's 4 hospitals out there, so it was a medical precinct. And we sold that out. That was 2 years ago, the fastest selling development in Melbourne. So you're seeing a bit of a track record here. Because of the amenities, we always sell very, very fast. So these are all other buildings that we've done over the years. What we like to do is show the render, the computer generated, this is what we promise it's going to look like, and then we do the finished building. This is what it actually. This is important to people because obviously you're buying off the plan. What we're promising, we're delivering. So these are all some of those 60 buildings that we've done before. Particularly Australians want smaller buildings, so we break it up into 3 separate buildings, around 60 to 80 in each building. We'll build the whole thing together, all 3 buildings, a total of 240. What we find with our model is we need around 200, 240 total, because that's how we can do the lifestyle amenities for the price that we do. So obviously key, and this is where Tim and Chris will do that, crunch the numbers for you, the owner's corporation becomes really, really important. So 1 bedroom's owner's corporation in our building is around $2,300 a year. 2 bedrooms around $3,000 to 3,600 for the biggest. So that's how we share that cost of the amenities across all 240 apartments. So that's the sort of key to our success. So each building has its own entrance, its own lift well, its own stairs, and we've got 1, 2 and 3 bedrooms apartments in this building. So the 1 bedrooms are roughly around 450. Everything with a car park, no stackers. 2 bedrooms anywhere from 570 to most expensive would be 700. And then 3 bedrooms from 820,000 up to about 2 million. So 3 groups that are really living and buying in our buildings. One are first homeowners. Secondly is young professionals, usually dual incomes. The 2nd bedroom becomes a study or a spare bedroom. And then the 3rd category are downsizers. Those that the kids have moved out, they're trying to downsize, simplify their life, go into a gorgeous apartment, but it has to have amenities. Because remember, they've come from a house with backyards and that sort of stuff. So I'm going to go through the area very quickly, but Essendon, as you probably know, is sort of like, we sort of coin it, the Toorak of the North. So really, really well established, old money, beautiful homes in the area. The other key thing about this area that Chris and Tim like is that it's an employment hub. So like Ivanhoe had the medical precinct, here has the airports. So it generates a lot of the income and a lot of the jobs, both in Essendon Airport and Tullamarine. So it's a good employment hub. You can see DFO, really good access into the city. So one of the key things is that the median house price here is $1.4 million. So look at the houses that are in the area. So, anywhere from $4 to $20 million homes in the area. So what if you're a young person and you love the area, you want to live in the area, you can't afford this sort of money. So the key is to find a gorgeous apartment and either rent or buy in that apartment building. So that's the key. The other key to this area and why Chris and Tim love it so much is we don't have any competition. So local people in the area have come in and bought from Matt and myself, and what they tell us is there's nothing in the area that's anywhere near this in terms of quality. And then no other buildings have the amenities, which I'll show you in a minute. So amazing area, amazing schools. This is really good for your capital growth. Parks, well-established parks in the area, the lifestyle, cafes, restaurants, all this sort of stuff that come with most Melbourne suburbs. This is a key. So here's an employment hub type story. This is Lindsay Fox. Lindsay Fox is the trucking magnate. He's a part owner in Essendon Fields. And what he's doing is an 18,000 square metre new office block, 14,000 new jobs. So my question to you is, young professionals, where are they going to live in this area? I can guarantee you they're not going to live in the apartments down the road, which are 55 square metre 2 bedrooms with no amenities. They're going to end up in this building. It's really, really exciting for us. So I'll quickly get to, obviously transportation from here is really good. Remember, not everyone's going to the city, because this is the employment hub here. They're going to the airports, they're going to Tullamarine, Essendon. But if you need to, you can see, obviously the tram goes right outside the door. So then we get to the amenities, and this is really our point of difference. And this you can see the various categories that we put all our amenities under. So one of the things we've learnt, that amenities have to go in prime location for the residents to want to use them. The best example is we all know of an apartment building that's got a little 3x3 room. You stick in 3 bits of machinery and you call it a gym. No one's going to use it. So when we do a gym, it has to replace a gym membership. It's really, really important. So we put all our amenities on Keilor Road. It's prime location. Now this is really important because you need to understand what this developer is doing, Blue Earth. He's gifting these assets to the building. Who owns the building? You do as owners. And it's something that a lot of people don't understand. So instead of selling this area here at the front to restaurants, cafes and that sort of stuff, he's gifting these areas to the building. So it's an asset that you actually buy with your apartment. So let me quickly go through the amenities, because this is really our point of difference. So fitness and wellbeing. So Technogym is the equipment supplier for the last 8 Olympic Games. So they're considered one of the best suppliers of fitness equipment in the world. We use those entirely in our gyms. So to give you a bit of an idea, this whole display, and you haven't seen the display room next door to us, is 250 square metres. So it's quite big. This gym is 220. So I tell you that because this is a commercial sized gym. So when you get a gym here, you're replacing your gym membership. So when you go to rent it, obviously you can rent with a free gym membership. So here it is. This is the Technogym equipment. Now, one of the things that you need to understand is technology is a really big part of what we do. So we run the whole building through a building app. So you can imagine someone going in, a large percentage of people now get a personal trainer, which is sort of fun, and they go on and they book it, and you meet the personal trainer in here and you pay for that separately. But we've also got a functional fitness area as well, which is fantastic, because this is your F45, or your yoga, or your meditation, or your dance class. Whatever the residents want, we'll be able to do in these areas. And again, we'll put it on the building app, and you just book in, or your renter books in whenever they want.
That's amazing. It almost makes you want to train to look at all this stuff.
Not really. So you're having a really tough day, right? Halfway through the day you go, oh, I would love a massage. So you go into the building app, you book it, you get home, there's a massage room downstairs. So you have a massage and then you go upstairs and crash. So there's also a sauna, a steam room. There's a spa area. There's actually a salon, a beauty salon. So one of the things we're doing with our local businesses in the area, like a beauty salon, is we'll have them all on our business app. So if someone wants nails done or something, you book in here and you can get it down, you book in down the road. But if you want someone to come up into our salon, they'll send them up and you pay for that separately. So we're just trying to give people options. So one of the things that we've done over the years is listen to our owners about what they want, what lifestyle things they want in their building. And one of the things they told us is they want a vegetable garden. So this is the first building that we've done with a vegetable garden. So one of the other things that are really important, a lot of our one bedrooms look into these beautiful central garden areas. So imagine, go back 6 months, last year, COVID, you're locked up in your apartments. But it doesn't matter, because you can walk down into these gorgeous gardens and just chill out. So these are for barbecues. When we can get together, you can invite people in. We've had weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, all in these sorts of areas in our building. So this just extends the options for our people. Here's another retreat garden that we've got. So if someone buys a one bedroom, it's realistically, you can't fit a dining room table into a lot of one bedrooms. But that doesn't stop someone having a dinner party, because we've got a residence dining room. So you can book this again on your building app and you can have a dinner party for 22 people. And on one bedroom, you can't even fit 22 people in the one bedroom apartment, and you can have dinner for 22 here. And if you love to cook, we've got a chef's kitchen right next door that's been designed. You take over, you can do all the cooking, but you can get it catered if you want to. Or we can go online and get Uber Eats and they just deliver it, and that's fine as well. So business centre, how important is this now? So many people working from home, but you're not locked up in your apartment. You can go down into this unbelievable business centre, Wi-Fi, meeting rooms. We've got access into the restaurant cafe through a sliding glass windows. So you need your coffee, you need your breakfast, you want a working lunch, you can operate your whole business out of this business centre.
I was just going to say, the thing with this is the developer actually goes and hires futurists looking forward at what people are going to require. Now, this makes sense now that we've seen COVID, but they did this at Footscray, like years before we'd even thought about COVID. So these business centres are incredible. And as I say, for you to have the foresight to see that years ago is a testament.
Yeah, so really, really important to people, obviously. So someone said, gee, it'd be cool to have a gold-class cinema in the building. So the developer put a gold-class cinema in. So how does it work? You go and book it for the night. You pick up the phone of friends and family, get them to come over. You say, bring a platter of cheese and biscuits, a couple of bottles of wine, and it's yours for the night. So it's got all the cable channels, all the movie channels, or you take your own movie in. Clean up after yourself and there's no cost. Bit of fun. There's a games room, next level. So pool table, ping pong table, video machines. And for the golf enthusiasts, there's a golf simulator. So play all the golf courses all over the world. It analyses your swing. And when Dan shuts us down again, you just go in there and you can still play golf. He won't shut us down again. So technology is obviously a big part. We're pushing the boundaries in terms of technology. We've talked about the building app. Tim mentioned we sat down with futurists and we challenged the futurists, what do we need to be doing in our buildings today that's going to future-proof your investment going forward? So one of the things they said straight away was you need to do electric car chargers in your building. I didn't know what that meant, but from an infrastructure point of view, apparently there's a huge amount of huge electrical, high-powered cables that need to be run so that we can do that into the future. So the key about this is none of the buildings in this area have electric car chargers. None of the buildings in the city have electric car chargers. It's going to be really hard and really expensive to retrofit that in the future. And we know it's coming. So I always joke with people, I'm driving around my electric car in 5 years' time looking for an apartment to rent or to buy. What's the first question I ask? Does it have electric car charger in the building? None of them in the area will, except for this one. So this is future-proofing your investment. So the other thing that I really love in terms of technology is click and collect, and how important was this last year and continues to be important. So this is home delivery. So we get Coles at the moment, but you have to be home for it to be delivered. So the way this works is you're at the tennis and you've ordered some groceries and the delivery driver comes in, he goes to the computer terminal, brings up your apartment number or your name, and you need some lockers. So we've got a freezer, we've got a chiller, dry goods, we've got a laundry, and we've got a parcel delivery. So whatever you need, those boxes open, and as soon as he closes it, because he's entered that into the computer, you get an SMS that your groceries have just arrived. So you get back from the tennis at 11:30 at night, it doesn't matter, your ice cream's still ice cream. So really, really cool technology. The next thing we're working on is Uber Eats warmers in the building, which everyone would consider pretty important, I think. Someone said, give us a car wash. So we put a car wash down in the basement. So car wash, tyre pressure, vacuum cleaner. And someone said, dog wash. That's a good idea. So really we've got a dog grooming area in the basement. Stainless steel, hot and cold water, and a dryer for the dirty dog, and he comes up, he's all clean and happy. So you can see where we're going. So amazing facilities in the building. The retail is a cafe, restaurant, bar type area. I'm going to whip through the fixtures and finishings of the apartment very quickly because you haven't seen next door, which is one of our apartments. So you can go through and see it live. But the apartments, this is one of our ones up the top, beautiful, about 166 internal, 84 external, and that's about 1.7 million. So that's who else is in the building. That's important for you to know. This is a kitchen, and this is the exact kitchen that you'll see when you walk in, which is really important. So this is the 3-bedroom, and next door you'll see the 3-bedroom. So the difference between the bathroom in the 3-bedroom and the 1 and the 2-bedroom is the 1 and the 2 don't get a bath and just gets one sink and the shower stall. So that's the difference. But all the fixtures and fittings are the same. So everyone gets wood floorboards. Everyone gets floor-to-ceiling double-glazed windows. It's all standard. Everyone gets stone bench tops, integrated dishwasher, Bosch appliances, and obviously beautiful fixtures and fittings in the bathroom. So that sort of gives you an overall view of what we do here, but the real point of difference is the amenities. That's what's driving the market in the Melbourne market at the moment. We know a lot of other developers that literally aren't selling anything because they don't have the amenities. So we're really, really fortunate. We're again, welcome to our display. We'll look forward to helping you next door in the display and covering any questions. Is there anything that we needed to cover in terms of questions now? So Matt and I will be available later, so anything at all that comes up, just let us know. Okay?
Thank you.
Pleasure.
I think it's fair to say it's very impressive, but a lot of the time when you see something impressive and it looks like that, sometimes the finished product isn't the same. We know with your product, what you see is what you get. We're about to see that. But second to that is how you can still produce a product like that with value. And the reason that you've been able to do that, or the reason that Blue Earth's been able to do that over the years is because he actually land banks. Right? So there's a project, probably a block down that way, that he sold, probably completed 5 years ago. And Doug is selling that 5% cheaper here than what we were down there 5 years ago. Now the next part is buying value is one way to make money, but the second part is uplift. And I was amazed with what you did at Footscray. There was a valuation that you had there. How much was it? It was a 2-bedroom. 12 months later was
90,000 more.
90,000 more on a property purchased off the plan in a bigger project than this as well.
Yeah, that was the one that was 740 apartments.
Yeah.
So one of our 2-bedroom valuations came back 90,000 higher than what was paid for.
Yeah. So look, when we look at becoming a rentvester, and obviously for anyone trying to grow that portfolio, one of the ways to grow your portfolio is to keep your debt level low. We've got 1-bedroom apartments here for under $450. So a 1-bedroom apartment gets you a 1-bedroom, 1-bath with winter garden, beautiful open plan living, and car space on title as well. So no stackers or anything like that. You still get access to all of that amenity for $440,000. A 2-bedroom, this is a beautiful 2-bedroom that we've hand-picked as well. So it's a smart and practical layout, beautiful open plan living. There's heaps of storage. You've got another winter garden here as well. Really, really practical designs. I'm going to bring Chris up in a moment, but just when we start to think about what a rentvester, what it costs to hold a property like this, you know, back when we used to do these PIAs, a property investment analysis, we used to be able to show people you can own an investment property for under $100 a week. You know, fast forward 5 years, they're making you $100 a week. We've got interest rates that are, you know, the lowest in history. So that 1-bedroom I showed you before, I've done an example here. A $456 purchase. Purchase costs of stamp duty. Obviously, at the moment, we've got for Melbourne projects, anything off the plan, you get 50% concession, which was released in the state budget recently. So, really good time to be buying apartments as well. We've done a 10% deposit there, right? So, if you've got a cash lump sum, and you're looking at it from an investment purpose, there's no problem paying a bit of lender's mortgage insurance. It's tax deductible, it means you get to hold on to a bit more cash. So for a 1-bedroom apartment, we can get in there for about $45,000. Right, we're going to be using an interest rate here of an interest-only loan. We've used this year a 3.5% interest rate. It's probably going to be a little bit cheaper than that, but we can't expect interest rates to stay like that forever. So by year 5, I've jumped up the interest rate to 5%. Okay, and this is to show if interest rates do increase, can we still continue to hold this property? So an average over 10 years of 4.85%. I've done this on a single income purchaser who's earning $100,000. This property with all the depreciation is going to save you around $9,000 a year in tax, and it's going to be cash flow positive after tax of about $80 a week. I've only used $380 a week in rent there. We've included all the body corps, your rates, everything into that. For a 2-bedroom at $580, again using a 10% deposit of $58,000, same interest rates, $100,000 income, save you about 10 grand a year in tax, and again about $89 a week that it would be paying you after your tax deductions. So really affordable. For under $600,000, you're literally going to be getting an apartment that's got amenity that is seen in big towers in the city, and half of those towers don't have the level that you've got here. Chris?
First of all, thanks. It's pretty impressive. So, who can afford to make $100 extra a week? Pretty much everyone, yeah? But what I say to people, even if you can afford an extra $200 a week in your cash position, still put that on your investment property. The more you put, the better it is, the more equity you build, the quicker you can duplicate a process. Now's the time to get into the market. Rates are so low. When you're looking at buying at a development like this, not only is it a great area to invest, as a renter, would you like to rent in a building like this? And the beauty of it is you'll also love to live in a building like this. So there's so many great amenities. And being a futuristic developer, I've worked with Blue Earth, as I said, for I think 15 years or over 10. Every building that this guy does evolves. And he's always 5, 10 years ahead of the game. Why? Because he puts a big focus on that. Now, for those of you who are keen on proceeding with something tonight and putting in an expression of interest, what does that mean? We'll assess it further to see if we can assist you. We'll put a holding deposit on. If you can't proceed or are unable to proceed, it's fully refundable. Okay? So there's zero risk to you whatsoever. These are the incentives we're going to offer for the first few buyers. First year, rent guarantee. We'll put a tenant in there guaranteed for you for one rent. If it's not an owner occupier and you don't want to live here. 3 months free property management. You don't have to worry about that fee. Reventon Residential will take care of that for you to make sure that it's hassle-free. Free blinds, it's a full turnkey investment. It's set and forget. Sign your contract, you can move into your investment, or you can put a tenant in there straight away and start earning revenue. Free depreciation schedule. There's one thing buying a property, there's another thing setting it up correctly. And as I put in the book, there's a process that we need to follow. It's called the Reventon formula, and it's how we put 3,000 deals together to make sure that you're maximizing every possible thing from your tax positions to depreciation schedules to your 1515 forms, just to mention a few. First year free tax returns. Reventon Accounting will do your taxes for you for the first year to make sure you're claiming everything that you need to. Now, the big kicker, $10,000 cash rebate for the first 5 people to put an expression of interest today. Now that includes live or whoever's watching us online as well. This is a great opportunity, guys, for everyone in the room. If this is something that you're seriously considering, come and speak to myself or any one of my team members or Doug and Matt from Blue Earth Group. Please join us next door because I'd love to give everyone a signed copy of my book as well. And there's some cheese and some other things. And more importantly, I want you to see exactly what this product's going to look like when it's built. Come see us to answer all your questions. Finally, I'd like to thank Blue Earth Group for hosting tonight. Thank you, you've done an amazing job. So thank you. My team for coming out tonight and listening to me again, which they're probably sick of it. But more importantly, I'd like to thank everybody for taking your time off today to come here. Now, the moment of truth, what is this?
Just don't look and pull one out.
All right, the winner is Chris Christofi. Yes. Wow. Black D14. Black D14, come on down. Well, it's a game show host. Anyone? No?
We'll hang on to it.
Okay, Black 14. This one here's for a free apartment, only kidding. Black D11. Is anyone here that's got these tickets? No? Yep. Congratulations, come down. And? Are you 14?
Hey, you have to be here.
Yeah, sorry. No. Who's D11? Seriously. Anyone? Yep, that's you. There we go. Congratulations. You get free cheese and some takeaway drinks.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. 18 months to use it.
18 months to use it. And is D14 no? All right. Is everyone happy to redo it? Sounds yes. Yep. D07. There we go. There you go. Congratulations. Now, is that it?
That's it.
Now, the doors are going to open. Please join us. For those of you who want a copy of my book, please come and see me. If you've got any questions, come and see myself or the team. And to everybody watching live, thank you for joining us. Please register your interest. The details will be, Karishma, below in the link somewhere there. And contact our office. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a great evening, guys.